Every time I'm looking for a new anime to watch, I try to look for stuff that'll grab me right away, whether it be the designs of the characters, the small tiny details of the world the characters live in, or how beautiful the animation is when I look at a trailer. And this time that anime was Banana Fish. But before we get into why you should check out this show, let's get right into its history. Listen, I only do this portion just to make the video longer, so bear with me. Banana Fish is a shoujo series that was written from the mid-1980s to early 90s, which was written and illustrated by Akima Yoshida. And the series is not only recognized for its great crime thriller story and incredible characters, but to also have paved the way for many other stories that depict homosexuality with its characters in the medium of manga. And while this isn't a really crazy thing to do nowadays, back then, Banana Fish was also a series that achieved success in gravitating not only to boys but to girls as well. And if we really think about the time period Banana Fish was released in, it was a really cool thing to do. But now let's get into why you should check out this great show. I think the first thing that you'll notice if you don't skip it is how cool of an opening this series has, and how it does a great job of showing very little but still being very awesome at the same time. And what makes this even cooler is just how vibrant New York City is alone, just from minor shots here and there, from streets to signs, the subway, even the graffiti, and also the clothes the characters wear. It just gives it the feel that this is New York City and that there's no other place like it. And surprisingly enough, it's pretty accurate. It just needs to be a little dirtier, maybe have a crackhead or two here and there, and then it would be perfect. The story follows Ash Lynx and Eiji Okamura, Ash being a 17-year-old gang leader while Eiji was a pole vaulter back in Japan. But due to an injury, he falls into a deep depression in which Ibe, a photojournalist and friend of Eiji, takes him along to New York City as an assistant to help him with his report on kids in street gangs. And this leads Eiji to meet Ash. When they first meet, it's very clear that Eiji is very naive, and this intrigues Ash, so much so that when he asks for his gun, he just gives it to him. And while this isn't a big deal to Eiji, it is to everyone else. And just by how everyone reacts in the room, it tells us a lot about Ash as a character. But what I also love about this scene is that it's also an indicator for how different the lives of Eiji and Ash really are, and the beginning of Eiji getting to know Ash, and a similar scene happening later where Eiji shows off his pole vaulting skills and Ash starts to learn a little more about Eiji. And while this doesn't only happen in Banana Fish, but I love it when a show allows characters to get to know each other through their actions rather than boatloads of dialogue, at least in the beginning. And just the simplicity of these two scenes make it work so well. I guess to explain what I mean further is that it's a progression that the show takes. The characters learn from each other through how they act in certain situations, and then again later learning even more when they talk to each other. And this is when I knew I was gonna fall in love with this show, because the show allows you to unravel these characters, as with the characters with themselves, which allows you to go on a journey rather than someone reading a book to you. This is also a long way to say show and not tell, and I realized that I was trying to say this like halfway through recording, and that saying things out loud can sometimes help, but yeah, it was good to know. Another strength of this show is in its mystery, but before I say anything, I just want to say I'm diving into even more spoilers. So if what I've said so far excites you, then you can go ahead and leave the video. But if you're still here despite everything I said and the warning I gave in the beginning about spoilers, well, thank you, and let's get into it. You see, Banana Fish isn't only the title of the show, but also the name of a drug that when consumed has very devastating effects to the person who consumes it. The drug was developed by scientist Alexis Donaldson and his younger brother Abraham Donaldson, and responsible for the events that take place in the story. While Alexis helped develop the drug, he saw what it can really do, and the horrific consequences that come with it. But his younger brother, due to his thirst of curiosity, decides to explore and experiment further, perfecting the drug and making it into something that Alexis was afraid of, a weapon to be used for war. At the beginning of the story, there's a group of soldiers in the Iraq War, and one of the soldiers being the older brother of Ash, and the guinea pig of Abraham. Abraham uses the drug on Ash's brother, causing him to go into a fit of rage and hurting the soldiers that he considers as friends. And what Abraham realizes is that since there's some sort of awareness while the person is under the effects of Banana Fish, he's able to use this as an advantage to say certain things like who is the enemy and who the person needs to attack, which he does with Ash's brother, which then causes him to hallucinate and committing certain acts he has no control over. And if used in a bigger scale during a time of war, you can create monsters who are just full of fear and rage. Which is insane, because if we were to take this into a real life scenario, let's just say it would be a scary sight to see. But that's how far I will go with the spoilers for the story. So watch the show, please. But before I end this video, if we were to talk about the problems with the show, I do have them, but nothing too big that'll diminish the quality of the show. For example, like this scene here, the characters all come together as a squad, and they're looking for Alexis Dawson. In like 2 seconds, Ash is looking in his phone only to get to the results page, doesn't even click one of the searches, and just quickly comes to the conclusion that there isn't anything on him on the internet. Like, bro, you didn't put any effort whatsoever to thoroughly look through before you came to that conclusion. The second scene that kinda bothered me was the comment Ash makes about parents. Now, it's not what you think. It was just something that felt kinda dumb. So Ash and the gang meets Ash's dad and have a full episode where they have a heart-to-heart. Daddy cares about his son, and his son realizes that his dad always cared about him. Only for Ash in the next episode to be like, all parents are garbage. Like, did I miss something? You and your father just finally made up after all these years, and in the next episode you say that. I found that to be really silly. In the end, Banana Fish is an absolute roller coaster of a show. If you like seeing romance, action, a plot that doesn't waste time and gets to the point of its story, then Banana Fish is for you. It's definitely one of those shows that really took me aback and actually has 24 episodes of great storytelling. And it's why if you're gonna jump into anime or already watch and love anime, then you should watch Banana Fish. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.